something that the villains have done is that each one is completely distinct. Scorponok, Megatron, Shockwave, they're all completely distinct. But Overlord, you made this sadistic, insane, charming maniac. How do you come up with someone like that?
You know, Michael, I think it's quite obvious how I could come up with a charming, sadistic maniac.
He didn't need to be distinct from the other supervillains, you know.
I like the idea that he was kind of a bored kid. He's like, you know, so powerful, but having all these powers just makes him crave irresponsibility. You know, he's like, you know, the Megatron's goal of like, you know, galactic domination is like, you know, I'm cooler than that. There's his profile is in the trade paperback, and it's like a fun little story. It's basically a short story about the kind of hijinks that Overlord would get up to, you know. And you're saying about the two, it's like two people in a fancy suit, and it's kind of, and that's like the Master Force way. But I was kind of introduced to Overlord as the toy that came out in 1991 that I got for Christmas, you know. And I got into Master Force much later, and so I don't see Overlord as a Japanese character. I see him as a character, and probably a European toy character more than a Japanese character. I mean, I'm obviously aware of all this stuff, and I've seen Master Force, but you know, and it's just a cool villain to write as well. You know, it's kind of he's fun. He's fun to be around, or fun to watch. You know. So
in scoping out the story, one of the things that was hardest to get right was, you know, what was Overlord for, really? You know, what's driving him? And
we always knew how we'd like him to act, but kind of why he's acting that way.
It had to be more than just turning up and turning the G9 into some sort of sadistic playground. You know, there had to be a reason, and that reason, you know, if you like, sort of retrospectively informed a lot of what he was about, and it led to the choice that Megatron gave him in what's essentially haunted him for millennia.
I think we've got any other record tidbits we could share in the racing silences. Nucleon? I think so. One of the plot points, Scorponok was going to be an active kind of figure in Last Stand of the Wreckers, and he was going to be active in Garrus 9 as kind of Overlord's mad scientist, because Overlord is very interested in new shiny things and things that keep him interested, and Scorponok was going to kind of create these new things and these new ideas to play around with. And so we're going to have Scorponok creating Nucleon or whatever, as like some kind of wonder drug that kind of enhances people for pit fighting, which and he was going to like have, that was going to be the ultimate. It's going to be this unstable super fuel, you know, the usual sort of stuff, and that was going to be part of it. But it was going to have an amped up Grimlock in it, kind of all souped up and like raised up, that he was kind of slightly like the me Grimlocks type of thing, because he's so under the effects of the Nucleon, and he couldn't transform because the Nucleon freezes your transformation, so he's trapped in dinosaur mode. So basically the pit was going to be the final boss in the pit, was always going to be Grimlock, and people were thrown to him, and Grimlock in that sort of trapped dinosaur form was going to be sicked on Overlord at the end, and that was going to be, you know, ultimately kind of how he played his part or whatever. So it's kind of, maybe it was a fan step too far to try and get the Action Master process in there, but it kind of would have been cool, and you know, that might be something maybe we can touch on. Yeah, Action Masters.
I've got a question. Hello?
Oh, Andy Turnbull.
Obviously, this is involving Easter eggs and references to Marvel UK. Were there anything that left out because you felt it was going a little bit too far?
Marvel UK references we left out.
No, I mean, when you've got Squadron X being who they are, you've pretty much scratched that itch, really. I think the most obscure Easter egg in there is where the planet Poma is, which is in the sort of Redan quadrant, which is where Marvel UK's offices were based.
23 Redan Place.
Yeah, so that's you go any further and you start to go mad. I think that's as far as you can go.
I can't think of anything that was left out. I think we managed to shoehorn every crate.
There was in Actor's profile there was a reference to Dead Set as well. We didn't mention it by name, but the conceit was that Dead Set, the Death Set, given that he sort of hops through time and different universes, did pass through the IDW universe and tangle with Impactor and Co at some point.
And left before he got sued.
But yes, it was just a robotic bounty hunter, yes, that's similar to Dead Set.
Out of the entire series, what was your favourite joke during the entire 5 issue run?
we had that. It had because it was immediately followed by Roach Storm being killed. That was a sweet punch.
Yeah, Records Combined was good. I like one-liners more than kind of jokes necessarily. So, gun fondling battle stat. I like that one.
That's a good one.
And then the stuff that didn't make it, like the piston licking club switch around. Yeah.
We did try and make it, as I said before, we tried to sort of make it light in places as well, so that the darker parts.
Because I haven't. It's been a while since I've been in combat, but from what I hear, there's a lot of that kind of gallows humor and that kind of bonhomie that you kind of need to get through these really kind of dark moments. So it makes sense that these guys who were thrown together would kind of like joking all the way. Yeah, but it was fun to write. Yeah, Transformers need jokes, I think. Or kind of, or lightness. There's a lot of Transformers stuff just takes itself very, very, very seriously, and I don't think as a race you could survive for millions of years if you did so. So you need to give the reader something to enjoy too. So
what was your favourite joke?
What was your favourite joke?
I enjoyed the Records Combined. I always thought that was funny as all hell. I also like the bit where Verity is supposed to be tapping on the inside and no one can hear her, and then she comes out and says, I think you've just broken my ribs because you don't know our anatomy properly.
That reminds me of a line that didn't make it as well, actually. It's a Verity line. And it was when Impactor shows up at the end and he's on a spaceship and he's face to face with Springer. Originally he was going to beam aboard, the orbital bounce aboard, but they nixed that. So it's going to be it's going to be Impactor and Springer facing off, and it's going to be you. And the last page is going to be two facing off, very, really small, just looking up, going, okay, who broke up with who?
Were you aware of the fact that the toys, the characters you bring in has some horrendous toys? And do you feel there's slightly bit guilty that we're not out trying to find stuff like Jumpster has?
I think it's great that that these toys which aren't really well loved have become coveted essentially because they've got personalities.
And it's true, isn't it? Guzzle isn't. There's not much to Guzzle as a Transformer as a toy, is there? But oh man, I'd love to see a new Guzzle toy in that design. Like of all the things I've drawn, I really want a Guzzle one. That'd be sweet. So screw Impactor. He's had his chance. If he's not going to get one by now, he's not going to get one. So that's the directors were always kind of the last ones out of the toy box, weren't they? A little bit. So